It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillos Diz. Featuring Frank. And Jen.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillos Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here on our YouTube channel. What are we calling it? The YouTube channel. The YouTube. I am so feeling the New York this week. I just hear it in my voice all the time. And maybe it's just because of the sinus problems for 7 weeks straight. Maybe. It could be. It is a Theme Park Thursday Eve here on our YouTube channel, but it is Theme Park Thursday if you're listening in the audio feed. And part of the reason why we're here on the YouTube channel doing this fancy live stream this evening is because we're so close. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and maybe before Christmas, by Christmas Eve, one foggy Christmas Eve, can we get to 1,000 subscribers?
I believe it can happen. While I talk for a moment, you had a really clear mic before we went live, and now you sound like you're talking into a can. So perhaps fix your mic while I tell everyone how I was planning on coming really festive with a cute little festive headband, and I was like, oh, Frank wore that goofy hat the other week, but like it literally can't even fit like in the little box here, so I'm not wearing this. But the thought was there, so I just wanted to let everyone know that the thought was there to be more festive, but I'm bringing it back.
So my question to you now is, my microphone better?
Yes, you're a little bit low, but you're clearer.
I'm clearer. Does it mean I'm gonna have to start the podcast over?
No. We understood you. It was just I knew that you sounded better before. And if people are just tuning in for the first time, welcome. But if they're not, then they know we need to go through these audio issues sometimes. It just happens.
Well, and I don't understand what happens between when you and I are just talking before we hit live, and then we drop out, and then I bring it back up. What happens? Am I louder now because I did adjust the volume?
Yes. What just happened again?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Oh my goodness, sorry. I don't know what happened again. No, we're good.
So
we're good.
Jen knows she has limited time to edit, so this is also why. It's not Tuesday, it's not Monday. We're
not even editing. This is going as is. We're just dropping it in. There will be no editing. It'll be fabulous.
So as we're doing this live stream, as we're recording, if you're listening in the audio feed on Theme Park Thursday, we are 19 subscribers away from 1,000 finally. And, people are like, I can't believe you're not at 1,000 subscribers already. And I want to just briefly talk about like the history of Dillos Diz YouTube, because part of, one is we're just inconsistent over the years. Over these 5 years that you may have grown to know us, people are like, oh, you do the content, you got so much going on, you do the TikToks, you do the thing. With the YouTube, we are just inconsistent. People are like, oh, you got content coming all the time. It's like, but we're just and we don't do YouTube right. We do it inconsistently. And P.S. It's not just this YouTube being around for the past 5 years. It has been around for, I don't know, 12, 13 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. We dropped a bunch of old videos back in the early days of YouTube, and YouTube at that time was like, you're not real people. You're just putting your old home movies on here.
You
So
liars.
it's going to be a slog for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we feel sometimes push and pull.
Yeah.
But the last 5 months or so, we have put the pedal to the metal. No pun intended. Pedals coming soon.
Yeah.
No spoilers. And what is there going to be an announcement for the meetup? No.
No.
No. And now we've been close because since December 2nd, we've had about 165 jump in subscribers. So this is, the home stretch. And I don't think it has anything to do with me announcing that should we reach 1,000 by New Year's Eve, that means you, the wonderful subscribers out there, would get streams of me doing Peloton rides in 2024 because I haven't been on the Peloton in 2023. I meditate in the Peloton app. I have not gone on a ride in 2023. Frank meditates? He's angry all the time. How does that work? We're not going to talk about that right now. Jen?
I think maybe the Peloton ride would be great for now. I don't know. I'm sensing like you could use a good Peloton ride through Disney. I do think you should be credited though. Well, first person credited with really getting us to this point will be Dave. A la Brandy and Dave. Always giving us the ideas, always making us do the things that we're like, Dave, we don't want to do that. And he's like, well, you should do it. And then we do it and it works. Listen to Dave, everybody. That's what we should learn here. Listen to Dave. But also you have been doing the shorts. 99% of them have been from you.
Yes.
So I think not only are people intrigued by seeing you on the Peloton, probably after seeing those videos of your calves from Tron. That's probably what did it. But now even more so because you're behind all the shorts. People just sense it. So they're trying to flock that way.
Yeah, and to if you're joining in or you're listening on the audio, this episode is going to be somewhat centered around the 40th anniversary of Mickey's Christmas Carol, but we've promised at least a half an hour of tangents at the start here. But yes, if you don't know, if you're just watching for the first time, if you're a new subscriber, checking us out on the rewatch or whatever, it is well known and well documented that I have excellently shaped calves. In the Elizabethan times, you would call them well-Essexed calves after the Earl of Essex. This was displayed most prominently in our recent meetup on Tron, because on Tron, it's all about those calves. No trouble. And I'm all about the calves. And know that there is a short amongst our shorts where you see me testing out the vehicle for Tron. And it does show off my calves. And that is, I think, our second or third most viewed short at over 10,000 views. But it also could be because Jeffers is also in that short.
That's probably what it is. It's the community. They like seeing the community together. They like seeing our meetups because people want more of them. It's probably, that's probably that.
It's a mix of all the things.
Yes.
People have been asking whether we're going to have, if this is like the final episode of 2023, whether there'll be an episode between Christmas and New Year's. Last week we did a Theme Park Thursday Live with 3 topics or subjects, kind of as a potential buffer for the audio feed. But if the fates align and the spirits allow, and 3 people show up, 3 spirits show up at Mom and Papa Dillos on Christmas Day, and not the 3 spirits Jen and I were texting about earlier, but 3 young spirits who may be able to provide a movie review. I think we're aiming for that to potentially be the final episode of 2023, but that's a big TBD. It's a lot of variables, a lot of things to consider. It'll be Christmas Day. It'll be hard to keep them in one place at one time. we'll see how that goes.
I think maybe if we center it around their favorite place in Mom and Papa Dillo's house, the basement, perhaps we could get them around a table with just the iPhone out going, go ahead.
Just talk about it.
Just don't say each other's names.
Yeah. And then just quickly looking ahead to 2024, more guests, I think, because we couldn't do about 5 months worth of episodes without guests for a while due to all the craziness we had earlier this year. The aforementioned Dave, I think, will definitely be on the early list here. I want to shout out here, and they are on the top of my list for 2024. But Tom and Michelle over at the Hyperion Adventures podcast a couple of weeks back, they did, I mean, if there could be two guests for one podcast, like best suited for each other.
Yes.
It was when Dan Abraham and Trent Corey appeared on the Hyperion Adventures podcast. And if you don't know who Dan and Trent are, they are the co-creators, the directors behind Once Upon a Studio, which, you could argue is the best thing Disney has done all year long.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a hill to die on, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've talked about it, but maybe we still haven't talked about it enough. It was just a tremendous short and really hits all those Disney feels, ties in a little bit to what we're going to talk about here with Mickey's Christmas Carol, I think. And, Tom and Michelle were talking about it in September. They were over at Destination D23 over the Contemporary when our ships passed in the night.
So close. So close.
So close to meeting. 5 years of not meeting. And, Tom and Michelle both were immediately like, this is it. This is quintessential Disney, must watch, must see, all the things. And they weren't wrong. Oh, Jen, your audio, where did it go? What? There you are.
I was saying a whole sentence. What is happening? Yeah, I love that they had them as guests too, just because of they had such passion about it from so early on. It was cool to see it all come together like that with that interview. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, just tremendous, and totally. I didn't Dillo those expectations, so make sure you check that out over on your favorite podcatcher with the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We got a chat going here. Lewis is making sure I know that that they know that it wasn't just one Peloton ride. It was at least a year's worth of Peloton rides. No, listen, the goal is to get back on the Peloton, so I'm willing and able. I don't know if I'm able, but I'm willing to make sure that happens. So at least, I don't know, 12. Can I commit to 12?
Oh, what? I'm sorry. That was my bad.
Jen, what is going on with you and the live stream controls tonight?
I have to just stop pressing buttons tonight, and then it's good. It's all good.
Going to be down to 977 subscribers.
I'm bordering on vertigo this evening. I'm going to blame that because I took some Advil beforehand going, if I just stay on the screen and I just stay like this, it should be fine. Like Tron. Anyway.
Oh, a calf cam along with so many things. One thing we haven't talked about, Jen, before we move on to Mickey's Christmas Carol, because we are going to have a little open door here in about 15 minutes or so. But the one thing I want to make mention of is, we did a Secret Santa this year. Yeah. And it was built upon previous Secret Santas with those in the community. Last year, and I can't confirm this, and perhaps Lee will confirm when he listens to this in the audio or whatever. I don't know if my Secret Santa gift made it to him, but he should know that I'm his Secret Santa. And
from last year.
I don't know if he got my gift. So I'm just gonna say I tried to rebound this year. I'm just gonna say that both of my gifts right now, not the ones I'm receiving, right? But there's still some outstanding issues to be resolved here. Yeah. And it's December 20th. Sure. And both of them just sitting there out there.
Sitting in the void.
I'm telling you, that I'm not going to do Secret Santa next year. No way.
That's it. Too angry. You're too angry about it.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dr. Val is asking, when do we tell our Secret Santa? I'll tell you when everyone's got their gifts. That's when.
How do we confirm? Because we still don't know if Lee has his from last year.
That's right. We can't tell anybody because we don't know if everyone got theirs from last year.
So once we confirm that people have their gifts for the last 3 years in a row, then we can talk about it.
Here's one. Did we finish the March Madness bracket? We don't know.
No,
We don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was brought up at our meetup, I think, in September, and I was like, "Oh, we were supposed to do something with that."
That's right. We fell into a hole outside of this podcast, well, the audio podcast, for 5 months. I don't know if we got to the semifinals and finals. I'd have to go back and listen.
I feel like we did, but did we ever send people prizes?
No. I definitely didn't tabulate any points because they were supposed to be the Jen Frank choice and the Frank choice and the whole thing. We didn't do any of that.
You know what? Let me tell you something. It kind of goes under the umbrella of giveaways. When I try to do a giveaway, I don't give it away. I did one, and I don't mean to not do it. Okay, in fairness. So a few weeks, a month, what is time? I don't know. Back, I did a YouTube short giveaway, and I did a Just My Mom Sense giveaway. The Just My Mom Sense has been sent a while ago, so that was done. The YouTube short one, that one didn't do well, and part of it was, you got to subscribe, you got to comment, you got to do all the things, and I think there may have been one person that commented that I don't know follows us, so then I was like, I'll follow up with that another time, and I never did. And I think sometimes our attempt at giveaways don't result in the you gotta like, you gotta follow, you gotta tag a person, and so therefore I'm always like, okay, well, no one really talked about it, so I don't know what to do now. So I feel like this all falls under the umbrella umbrella.
There you go. Doing the New York thing tonight.
However, I think March Madness, we probably should figure that. Can we figure that out by New Year's?
No. I have to say that now. No. In fact, I would say the thing that we would do is that to try to carry it over in some way to whatever we were going to do. And I have to go back and look. Would be doubled. Or the points will be doubled for certain people. I don't know. And we got to create a whole new set of rules. I mean, everyone at DillosDisResort.com, they want to revolt anyway because they hate my rankings. So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to March Madness, also known as the Dillos Does My Favorite Thing About Disney Ever This Year, March Madness Mania Pool.
Horn.
I haven't done that in a while. I was surprised I remembered it.
Because it would be good if we could tally it up by next March, and those that got to the highest points or whatever automatically get like an additional 10 points going into this year or something. I don't know, but I also feel like, I don't know, I still think the people, is everyone okay? That side of me is like, oh, but they deserve it because they wanted, we said we would do it and they done. We have to figure something. We have to figure all of the things out because there was also the resort winner and then the public winner, right?
Right. That's correct.
Oh, there's a lot happening.
And the resort guest could, vie for both. Like that was their extra. Right. So now we got to come up with an extra for the extra they already had.
Yes.
I mean, if you're new to the channel and checking us out for the first time, it doesn't sound like we're good people, but we are. We're good people.
We are. We swear. And I'm going to start 2024. I will do a giveaway and I will give it away. But people have to participate. So it's a two-way street. Also, before we start talking about Mickey's Christmas Carol, which may start soon, I want to preempt it with another Christmas Carol that I got to see in the theater this weekend.
Oh, yes.
That I had the privilege of seeing Muppet Christmas Carol in the movie theater this weekend, which was very exciting. I had the resort placing bets. By the way, also, if you're new to us, the resort, as we're talking about it, is DillosDisResort.com. That's our Patreon, where levels start for as low as $1 a month. That $1 gets you into our one-channel Discord, so come hang out with us there. However, I had everyone placing bets, and I was shocked that those first round of bets did not include Muppet Christmas Carol.
No.
I
Me
couldn't
too.
either.
I didn't really realize it until the next day, because then I figured out where you were going. I was like, oh, well, this would make sense. Because you saw what? The Great Muppet Caper a few months back?
No, Muppet Sig Manhattan.
Muppet Take Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of put 2 and 2 together on that. And to say that I thought, someone did say Love Actually, and I was like, is she dropping the kids off at Mama and Papa Dillos, and she didn't invite us, so all the kids could go to Muppet. Like that, there's a moment of like me being angry for no reason. Also to say, Mrs. Dillo and I were supposed to see Love Actually in the theater this afternoon at 1:00.
Oh, right.
But there was a lot going on here today. We had a winter holiday concert in the morning, and then there was a lot of stuff going on because it's the holidays.
Yeah.
And so little did I know, and this is a little piece of advice from your old pal Frank, that if you purchase on Fandango, you can refund. Who knew?
I think you can refund everywhere now.
Wait, is that true? They did the change that
I think
completely?
so, because I have the AM
Wow.
app, and there have been times due to illnesses that I've had to cancel, and I'm able to refund and stuff. So yeah, which
I was very
hey,
excited about
a perk from that time is that we
Yeah.
can get money back for movie tickets.
With 12 minutes to spare, I got my refund.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make it.
Yeah, we're not gonna make it.
But Muppets. So yeah, here's the thing. We 3 years ago we did a Forever 44 Fedora Club. Is it coming back in 2024? Because 20 plus 24 is 44. Just saying that out loud.
Mm-hmm. That's a reach.
And
Mm-hmm.
and we discussed that 3 years ago, and one of the things I used to say was I didn't see it in the movie theater because I wasn't going to be able to handle the voice of Kermit by somebody else. And that's still kind of true, but it definitely has always hampered the movie for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think seeing it in the theater for the first time?
I felt like I have a new appreciation for the movie, and probably I should have there are times me and Mr. Sandello get into conversations. I think I've talked about how we should be doing a podcast called Conversations from the Couch, because we'll just get into really random conversations and a huge tangent and snowballs and whatever, and I'm like, oh, we should have recorded this for something, I don't know what. And this is one of those conversations, but I was saying how the same thing we talked about, and we talked about it when we did the Fedora Club, that we don't have nostalgia for it. Mickey's Christmas Carol was my Christmas Carol. # my Christmas Carol. And I always kind of felt like Muppet Christmas Carol was a little bit long, and I don't know if that played into it. I never knew what really didn't connect me, especially loving the Muppets and all the things. Seeing it, but once I saw it was going to be in the theater, I was like, oh, but that's really cool. Like, what kind of opportunity? I mean, unless they start doing this every year, which would be cool, but like, that's not an opportunity you get all the time. So let's take the kids. Because also I knew I hadn't put it on for the kids probably in a couple of years, and they were always walking around because I think it does get long for them. And I was like, but if they're in the theater, it'll feel different.
Right.
And I do think that still for them. And I felt a new appreciation personally for it because I don't know, I felt more of the feels with it. I loved seeing the Muppets on the big screen. This is also the theater that it was in, is in quote unquote older theater that we're all used to with the folding seats and such. So so it's like, am I in #AlwaysMGM right now? I'm not, but and in my podcasting brain, also watching it going, oh man, it would be really cool to do an overlay at Muppet Vision 3D with just maybe the sing-along version of Muppet Christmas Carol. Or, oh, it would be really cool to do like an overlay in Haunted Mansion, but man, that would take a lot of work. You can't really do that. But I kind of was able to see the movie as like an attraction the whole time, which I never really had before, and was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but how are you going to you're not going to do a whole attraction dedicated to a Christmas movie or whatever. But I did have an appreciation. I did kind of feel like it does feel long, even though it's only an hour and a half, but it does get that feeling of it feels long at times.
Yeah.
And there is a darkness to it that could be a little spooky. I think the kids were not affected by that, only because they do know like the story. And at some point, the 9-year-old turned to me and was like, this is like Mickey's Christmas Carol. I'm like, it sure is. It sure is. It's just longer, but yep, it's exactly like Mickey's Christmas Carol. Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Val asked if Love Is Gone was in the theater, and you can confirm
Yes.
that it was. Yes.
Yes, I can confirm that it was back in. And I had forgotten that it had been, there was that whole discussion about it. And Jeffers had mentioned that too. Like, was that back in? I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. There was a whole thing about that.
As we're approaching the 9 o'clock hour Eastern, the guests at Dillos this resort, they do have the link to join the stream should they choose. But what you're mentioning here about Muppets Christmas Carol does segue nicely into what we're going to talk about with Mickey's Christmas Carol, which debuted on December 16th, 1983, making it just over 40 years old, 40 years and 4 days at this point. Another 44. It's meant to be, everyone.
Wow.
It is meant to be. But you bring up a great point, and we might have talked about an overlay at Muppet Vision 3D back a couple of years ago. But also, I think that, we in the past, and I think it was in the Fedora Club too, when we talked about Back to the Future 2, that the one thing about the Epic Universe, and you're getting a lot of news about Epic Universe lately, is it still makes me lament that we don't have like a more movie set like area that's dedicated to Back to the Future. And I know as the years go on, it's harder to kind of get back to that, no pun intended. But one of the things I had suggested with LED screens becoming a thing is having an area where it could look like 1955 sometimes, and then it could look like 1985 other times, and then it could look like 2015, and try to play, or even, I guess, if you wanted to really go for it with 1888, 1885, that whether, how that would all play out. So I kind of think, as we go into talk about Mickey's Christmas Carol, I think that it would be interesting to consider some sort of Dickensian element, and because we have, right? Because I think the Jim Carrey one is technically Disney as well, right? Is that true? Am I making that up? Can someone in the chat confirm that? But you got Mickey's Christmas Carol, you got the Muppets Christmas Carol. Like, could you have could Beyond Frontierland be London, England? In the late 1800s, where maybe you just keep it to one portion of the year, and holiday up, and you get a million Osborne lights in there. No, I'm just kidding. But but I think that's people love Muppets Christmas Carol so much, and last year we talked about it with Craig Shemin when he was going to drop the Sam and Friends book. Guess what? That was my Secret Santa gift from last year, by the way. You're welcome, Lee. But
if you got it,
if you got it at all, that there, and that was a big hit at the D23 convention in 2022. That both, I think there is such an audience for both of those Christmas Carol versions that I don't know why it's not expanded upon in the parks at all. It's critical IPs at the holidays. What are you doing?
Yeah. And I wonder, as time goes on, and as they seem to be building more around the holidays, and especially in the studios, they're testing things out. Like, let's do some more when it comes to that. It makes sense, and it was weird to be watching it and thinking of it. Maybe after 5 years, my brain just thinks differently now. But like, just really watching it like an attraction and going from scene to scene and being able to be like, this could totally work. I see it all working perfectly.
Right.
It is tough to, pull it away. But to me, at minimum, you could start with in Muppet Vision 3D. You make a sing-along version, you put it in 3D, and you call it a day. Especially that when you're exiting the theater, you pass by the snow and you pass by the Christmas shop. You could turn that whole thing. You could make it a huge area just centered around Muppet Christmas Carol this time of year.
Yeah, where everything is like, it's a food area these days for festivals and whatnot. That Muppet store that we're all complaining has been closed forever could easily be a bunch of pop-ups. It could look like whatever you want it to be, and it can be all festive and fun, and just bring, just cart things over from Mama Melrose's and get it, go down that back alley and
Mhm.
of Muppet Vision, and then we get it in there. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep.
What are you waiting for?
Just makes sense.
It just makes sense. So, as mentioned, Mickey's Christmas Carol, right? And so we have Muppets Christmas Carol at what, 31 years now, and Mickey's Christmas Carol at 40 years.
Mhm.
So I want to bring in our guest, but Jen, you will have to confirm with me here whether you can see the guest on screen, because I just see a flash of white light.
Oh no, I see the person sitting
You see the
backstage.
person. Well,
I
so
do.
interesting. I just see a white screen, which is why I'm waiting to bring the guest
Oh.
in, because I was like, oh, maybe they're off camera, but then I see them typing on the side, and then
Uh-huh.
I see. So now we
Oh.
got two guests.
Now we have two guests. Can you see
I
both
can see
people?
neither.
Oh, okay. I will bring them in then. And as a reminder, for those at the resort, you do have a link in the Discord. Feel free to join us if you want. No pressure. Whatever you guys want to do. All right. So first up, I will invite one half
Mhm.
of Figments in Time, as
Mhm.
they are together, who we did not get to chat with recently. So I'm so happy she's here today. It's Dr. Val.
Hi.
Val. Welcome. Oh, what is that? I did see that. I saw something.
Okay.
There's something glowing next to you, Dr. Val.
Oh,
What is
it's
that?
my
Right,
my
but I also
carousel
have
of
like a
progress light.
play icon in the middle of my screen. Can everyone see this?
No,
What-
you're crazy. You got to go out and come back in. I think
I'm
I
not
see
going
Dr.
out and
Val
coming
just
back
first.
in. All right, wait. Can you hear Dr. Val?
Yes.
Hey, you
What?
can hear me? Okay, good. Yay.
All right, I'll be back soon. You'll see.
Deuces.
Da, 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 da.
Hi.
Everything's happening because we're live. This is what happens when we go live to the public. It all goes crazy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm happy to see you.
I
Not
know.
that I don't love the other half of Figments in Time, who, spoiler alert, will be here any moment. But
Okay.
we did miss you last time we chatted with him.
I know. I didn't get to go on that trip, so
I
it
know.
was a bummer, but it's all right. It's okay.
You're here now, and that's what
I am.
matters.
Yes.
What is he doing?
did you-
What?
There I am.
Yes.
Are you?
Hi, I
you
can see everybody now. I can
Hi.
see everybody.
Okay. Good. Then I can bring in the other half of Figments in Time. It's Lewis. Hi, Lewis.
Santa Lewis.
We can't.
Oh,
hear you,
Santa Lewis is
from
muted.
here. Yeah. Oh, and Frank's gonna get.
No, I have to go out and in to see the next guest come in. I could see Lewis down in the green room, but then he came up and was the flash of white light
Yeah.
again.
So I hope too many people don't come in, because you'll be going out and in the whole time as we bring more people to the screen. Hi, Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
Since Lewis definitely knows to leave his mic on mute before coming into a. Who knows what
just-
sounds may be being made in this?
You never know. It's all
Now that you're both here, I just want to ask Dr. Val on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did your stomach hurt knowing Lewis saw the Hatbox Ghost before you?
I appreciated that he got pictures for me, because I was like, okay. But the fact that not only I miss Jollywood, not only did I miss Ashley Eckstein hosting the Candlelight Processional, who is one of my favorites. I said it was almost like the universe was kicking me when I was down, because it was like that happened, and then they announced the Hatbox Ghost, and I was like, I would have been there for all of them. And it was just, it was not a good week.
I think I've only said this on the podcast once before, but Ashley Eckstein and I were in the same department at #AlwaysMGM.
So she's one of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah, true story. Right around the Hercules Zero to Hero Victory Parade time. Ashley Eckstein is much, much younger than I am. Just to point that out. And so Ashley Eckstein and Dee Dee Magno Hall's siblings were both in the same department as me at the same time, which is crazy.
That's awesome. No, I think she's great. We love Star Wars weekends, and she and J. Arnold Taylor would host, and it was just my favorite. And I get a ton of stuff from her universe, so I'm a huge Ashley Eckstein fan, because I'm a huge Ahsoka fan, and so that was almost harder. But now the Hatbox Ghost, I have been hoping for the Hatbox Ghost for I can't even tell you how many years. because I'm such a huge Haunted Mansion fan, and I could not believe that I missed that. But yeah, but he got to do it, so I was happy for him.
I missed an entire day at the Animal Kingdom to go there too. I'm just saying that's the kind of
Which he would not have done if you guys had not helped me. You guys helped me a lot. He would not have done that if it had just been me.
It doesn't sound like us to help someone go to a different park than the animal. That's not something we would do ever.
No. No. Just as an update, 984 subscribers, 16 away from
It's our technology glitches doing it. I think that's what's doing it.
It is what everyone's into these days. I mentioned this on the X Twitter, I think, and I know we're supposed to talk about Mickey's Christmas Carol, but I already feel I'm far, far away from all of that. No pun intended for my next question. But with the announcement of quote unquote Minute Maid, also known as the next variation of the Voyage of the Little Mermaid, returning supposedly next year to #AlwaysMGM, I proposed that in the animation courtyard, which is supposed to get updated, that the Star Wars launch bay, aka the Star Wars Museum, because we've heard cast members call it that should be also rededicated and only focus on Star Wars animation. So I will pose that to both of you, Louis and Dr. Val, because I know that you're both fans of the animation series.
We are. Love Rebels. Love Clone Wars. I miss it being the animation courtyard. I loved that movie. I loved going through and watching the animators through the windows, and so it's still hard for me to I miss that a lot. So even as much as I love Star Wars, I don't love the launch bay because I go there and just miss, I miss the movie and miss all the things. So yeah, so I don't know that I would, even if it was just dedicated to the animated series, if I would still be as excited as I don't know.
But why not? Why, if they made it about animation, if they made it the animation courtyard again, but the animation that they were doing was Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think it would be just as cool seeing how they do digital animation as how you do regular animation, because the first step in digital animation is to draw it out, right? They don't start with computers. They start with sketches, because sketches are faster than computers. They're not faster than computers for making those, the beautiful 3D models that look like real people almost. But if they did that, then it would be great. I mean, right now the Star Wars Museum it's boring. My favorite part of it is the pictures I have out in the queue. I mean, the queue is the best part.
Yeah.
When that's the best part of your attraction. Right. That's not a good sign.
Well, as I'll tie it back into something I referenced earlier, then should we have a bunch of character meet and greets in the area that are not Star Wars related and turn it all into a Once Upon a Studio attraction, where then you relive the days that it was once a studio, working studio, but now you can watch the short in the little theater. You got character meet and greets, and you got a little dedication to 100 years of Disney animation. Let's go.
Love that. That would be a big draw for me, because I think that would be incredibly cool. I even think it would be cool if they rotated and did even showed the old Robin Williams short and the one with
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, and what was that? Mushu? They had the Mushu.
Oh, right, yeah.
Later years. So if they rotated those, I would love that too. I would love the nostalgia part of that. So yeah, I would. I like the idea of that much better than even Star Wars, which for me is, like I said, I love Star Wars so much, but it's I miss it being animation focused because I love that so much.
I like the idea of making it into Once Upon a Studio and doing that and having an animation have the animation studio there. I think they ought to do the costuming and the things. I mean, because they're not going to turn into a TV studio again for whatever reason. I don't quite understand why they got rid of that, but there's no reason why they couldn't show you making the costumes for people working there. There's no reason I couldn't show you them building things like I mean, a lot of stuff's a little more boring now, like printing banners and designing things, but I think that would be really cool. I would make the people who are working there coming up with stuff work in a fishbowl and let everybody come look at it.
Right. No, that
Which would be
makes
kind of cool if you're a programmer. It'd be like going in and watching a bunch of programmers work, I suppose. But
But
that would be fun.
I like this idea, and I like it because I think all of us really enjoyed when the studios was a studio, and we don't have that. So having even a little bit of that feel would be great. And to Lewis's point is something I haven't really thought about before, but I think it would be cool to kind of watch the process of computer animation and how they're doing it, because we kind of just a bunch of animators aren't sitting around drawing everything and with all the pages flipping back and forth, kind of like you see in Full House when Joey meets the animators. But like it would still be a cool process to watch. And more to your point, Lewis, of watching people with costuming and everything like that, I think you stretch that out. You can do so much with like 3D printing now, and there's so much happening. I mean, at least in our schools, but I feel like in schools everywhere with STEM and STEAM, and you have kids that are totally into it and would absolutely sit there and watch all these things get made and be totally into it. And I think you then inspire the next generation, just like how we felt. We would go through, the backstage studio tour and be like, oh my God, it's so cool that they make movies and shows here, and this is so great. And it's like, now when kids are going into the parks, Epcot used to be like the learning park, and the studios was the filming park, but it was so cool to just kind of have that variety, and it would be great to have like that feel again everywhere. Yeah. But
yeah, because I can't even remember the last time I went back there now, and I used to go every single visit. That was like a huge area for me, and I would go do the animation, where they would show you how to draw the characters, and I would do all the stuff back there because I loved it so much. And it's been a long time since I've walked back there now.
Yeah, it's like why I love the animation experience in Animal Kingdom, everybody. That's right. I said something I loved in Animal Kingdom, but it has that old school feel to me where you're sitting, you're taking your time at Disney, but you're getting to talk to an animator who can draw a Disney character. It's just like a nice, relaxing, fun thing, but also the old school vibes of what they were trying to do back in the day, more so than they are now.
It needs a better location. I feel like
it's
kind of a disservice over in that area.
Yes, for
it
sure.
Should be doing what it should be doing with the animals and things. But yes, I agree. Anywhere they could put that would be nice.
Yeah. Like who even knew there was a train there? I didn't until a few years ago. So I mean, people don't even realize.
Thanks everyone in this community for pointing these things out about Animal Kingdom. So
there was a train there. That's classic, right there.
Don't make me get my Animal Kingdom map out. And I really didn't know there was a train until.
Speaking of
like 20 years.
My map. What?
So touching base with Lewis a couple of weeks back following his trip to Walt Disney World, one of the things we ended up going on a tangent about was your list of Christmas programming we have to watch. I'm trying to segue back into Mickey's Christmas Carol. So I want to know where you are in the amount of Christmas episodes of television programs you have to watch. What are a couple still on the list that you have to get to see? What's the most recent ones you've seen? I want to know where you are in your process for both of you.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Luke can tell you how many we probably still have left.
So being sick has elevated my game this year. We've watched a lot more TV. We just came home and did that. Well, came home, got off work, walked over to the couch 10 steps, and went like this. But I've marked up 128 things so far.
Wow.
You've watched 128. And how many are usually on this list, would you say?
Well, there's 345 things on the 300 some things on the list.
And I don't watch everything with him. There are certain ones that I watch. There's certain ones I just don't watch. So
wow, I'm like trying to calculate all of that, like of the hours and how many television shows there have been.
I have a to-do list.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, do you watch anything more than once?
No, not usually.
Mm-mm.
There's no
Now,
time.
I have to say, like today, I watched the Routine
Mhm.
Friends episode a
Mhm.
second time because my daughter wanted. I went to have lunch with my daughter, and she wanted to watch it, and so we had already seen it, but I'm going to watch it with her. So, we watched that, and so, and I might occasionally, like, I'll watch because the ones for me, like Friends and Modern Family, and I have a few that are like my favorite ones, and so there might be one of those I might watch when I'm eating lunch or something. If we've watched it already, I might watch it again. But Ted Lasso, I've
Mhm.
watched Ted Lasso's Christmas episode more than once, but he
Mm-hmm.
won't watch it again. So
Well, he's got too much to do. I get it. It's so funny how we're like, oh, how many do you have left? I got my pen ready. Like, maybe I'll watch like whatever the remainder is. Oh, there's a million on that list.
we save a few things, like we save Prep and Landing till last. There'll be like a few things like that. Of course, the Muppet Christmas Carol is our Christmas Eve movie, so that we'll save for that. So there's a few things we save for like the end because they're our favorites. White Christmas we save to the end. So there's a few like special ones that are coming up in the next couple of days that we'll watch. But
The Peanuts ones, there's like 3 good Peanuts episodes they have. This was the first year I've watched Mickey's Christmas Carol, and it's because you guys talked about it and had me. I took pictures of the dioramas.
Yeah,
I know
you never watched it.
You were going to do this.
Have you never watched it?
we had never watched it.
2 or 3 times.
What?
I had
Just
never
about
seen
2 or
it.
3 times. Oh,
Well,
you've never
then-
seen it?
I had never seen it. No.
This will
watched
be
it
a
a few
perfect discussion then.
Because the Muppet Christmas Carol is our Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And so that just for me was always, I mean, I've seen others. Like I enjoyed Spirited last year with Ryan Reynolds. And, so I mean, I've seen other versions, but the Muppet Christmas Carols are, that's our Christmas Eve. That's our big. And so I don't know why I had never seen Mickey's before, but I went until the other night. Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, now we really have to wait. Okay,
Let's-
before we
now
do
we
that,
have to.
because there's a big discussion. I just need to know, Lewis, what will you watch tonight from that list?
Tonight we're going to watch The Masked Singer because that's the finale tonight.
Oh, we need to talk. We're going to have to talk because the 9-year-old is all in on the Masked Singer now. Therefore, I've gotten into it and I try to pinpoint and all the things. We'll talk offline about that. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Because
we
there's
just
a
watched
few.
the Lego holiday special as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we've actually started watching. We watched the Great British Bake Off. We've been watching those holiday specials. Like I said, we've been doing so much more this year because we've both been so sick.
Yeah.
That's how much TV we watched.
And so we
we
watched
seasons of the Great British Bake Off
Yeah.
we watched a lot.
and 150 episodes of random
But
TV.
I do make him do like the Masked Singer because I don't want to see spoilers, and it's too easy to see spoilers these days. So
That makes sense.
we do try to keep up with some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's how the 9-year-old has fallen in love with Elton John music. So it's because of the Masked Singer.
That's good.
Because of Elton John night.
Yeah.
Okay. Lewis, you had said something in the chat earlier because I talked about how there are parts of Muppets Christmas Carol that were a little dark, and you said not as dark as Mickey's Christmas Carol. And I would like to start with that. I don't know if it's a debate because I can totally make an argument for both, but a discussion. So tell me your thinking with that.
The ghost of Christmas future is disturbing in the Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
What, he's like dragging him down to what? I mean, this is not good, right? This is freaky.
Why yours, Ebenezer?
That was what bothered me. He's not supposed to talk. Christmas Future's not supposed to talk. And when Pete started talking, I mean, obviously I knew it was Pete when I saw the cigar, but I was like, why is he talking? That was the only thing that bothered me about the whole thing.
Oh, that's it's never. I mean, I know, in most Christmas carols, but it never even goes around like, why is he not talking here? It's just been my thing. That's hilarious.
We should probably do like an entire episode one day on the evolution of Pete, because like back in the day, first of all, in Mickey's Christmas Carol, he's terrifying. But then if you look at the older cartoons, where I think I talked about while back. Like we were watching one a couple of years ago, and he was like rolling Mickey up in like a big cigarette to smoke. I was like, what's happening? What is going on here? This is not
Very
okay.
disturbing.
And now he's on like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Well, not now. I mean, those episodes now are, 15 years old or whatever. But like, and on there, he's like, "Oh, sorry, Mickey, I didn't mean to steal your Easter eggs." And he's so like the evolution of Pete would probably be a really interesting deep dive to
Really
just
would.
watch it
Well,
all through. But anyway,
the same with Mickey. I mean, Mickey was a mischievous. He was a Bugs
Mhm.
Bunny, more Bugs Bunny than he is now. Now he's very nice. So all our cartoons are really nice now.
yeah,
And they used to be more, slapstick.
Well, what was the name of the one we watched the other day? Mickey's Good Deed, where he sold Pluto for
Oh yeah.
to a horrible, horrible family for money. And I was like, what is Mickey doing? It was a really old one.
I mean, he sold it for a good reason.
It was a really old Christmas one. But yeah, I
It's
mean, it
giving
was
Christmas presents to somebody. He sold Pluto for that, but
it was still very disturbing. Of course,
It
I feel
was.
like even in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I think they're so mean to Pluto. So that
Mhm.
really bothers me a lot.
yeah,
I agree. I really hate that they did that
Yeah.
as the storyline. And
Well, and
Mickey's
and
not
that's what's
that
funny.
stupid, right?
Yeah.
right.
And that style of cartoon is I've always struggled with that style of animation for those characters, and just and it's not like I'm a dad now and I watch Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse. Like that's not it. It's just there's just something that doesn't. Again, it's kind of like the evolution of things. Of like it just doesn't seem where that's the normal course of the trajectory. And I sit there and I lament that. I love Bugs Bunny cartoons in the sense of like there most of those episodes are a perfect like 6 to 7 minutes of animation, like just the Chuck Jones, the one action problem, you just know he's gonna chase the Roadrunner and all the things are gonna happen, like it's just perfect. But I lament that they never were able to evolve and grow, and even like Hanna-Barbera cartoons are like that too, and it's just amazing to me. So with Mickey and just sometimes it's just like, oh, it's just you feel like you hit a wall sometimes watching it. It's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
I think I would like to know your overall thoughts since it was your first time watching Mickey's Christmas Carol, which I'm sure you have told us that before and I completely forgot. And as we were having this discussion tonight, I'm just like, oh yeah, everybody's seen this 100 times just like we have. I mean, this was used against us over the years when we were little, like, you better stop fighting or else you're not going to be allowed to watch Mickey's Christmas Carol. Like, this is for us. So Val, why don't we start with you for like your overall thoughts?
I don't know why I've never seen it. I feel like that in my childhood, the Bugs Bunny cartoons were much more prevalent in maybe the Peanuts cartoons than, for some reason, the Disney animated when I was younger was just not super prevalent. I just didn't see it a lot. And so I had just never seen it before. I really enjoyed it because I do love that story. Like I said, it's the Muppet version is our favorite. And so I liked it. It was fun to see like what characters were going to be who and how it was going to play out and like the differences. And so I enjoyed watching it. But yeah, I was really surprised that I had never seen it before, but I had just never caught it.
Lewis?
I don't feel like they established why Scrooge changed well enough. I thought there were a few of the sections in there that were missing. Like when his nephew was making fun of him is a particularly deep scene, right? Because you're like, that would hurt, right? If you died or you were standing there and you went to your kid or your nephew and they were like, hey, he's an idiot. Oh, I hate him. He's bearable. And you didn't really feel that. That's the thing that always kind of took me into this is why he's getting better. I mean, the Tiny Tim scenes, obviously, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't match up with his personality, which also wasn't in the Mickey's Christmas Carol. Of if you're going to die, you need to die and decrease the surplus population. I mean, this was 1800s we're talking here, not currently. I don't know how good medicine was back then, but it was far more likely that Tiny Tim would have died than today. They have cool medicines now that they fix you.
Yeah.
So it didn't. I didn't get that emotional attachment to Scrooge's plight, if you
Mhm.
will.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I mean, obviously there's many versions of it, but especially the fact that like a Muppet Christmas Carol is your go-to every Christmas Eve. It's the one you're definitely watching now, having just come off of this. It is funny, like thinking of myself saying, like Muppet Christmas Carol feels a little bit long. It's like because it's telling the whole story, not 20 to 25 minutes that they put on ABC sometimes during the Christmas season.
Right.
So hearing that feedback of like what they didn't go too deep into, that makes sense since they were trying to keep it short and sweet.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they did that because it was the cartoon, and although
Right.
Pete is terrifying, they probably were trying to be like, kids aren't going to sit through it that
Yeah.
long, but still. I don't know.
I did like how they
yeah.
resolved the girlfriend thing in that one. That was actually the best I've seen. The way they did that with he foreclosed on her. That was spectacular.
And did you have a favorite Disney character to Dickensian character representation?
I thought it was really cool to see some of the characters we don't see a whole lot, like to see and I can't remember right now off the top of my head, the ones that were coming for the asking him for money at the beginning, to see those characters where you just don't see them as often. It was neat to kind of see how they pulled in. And I told Lou it was funny because even when he went to Tiny Tim's house, when he went into the house, I was expecting to see Miss Piggy. Like it was just so like I was surprised to see Minnie, and I was like, wait a minute, oh yeah, it was just because it's so like what you said, it's so ingrained in our heads. But so it was just neat to see. Yeah, I enjoyed seeing the characters that way,
And you
so,
rarely see Mickey's nephews in any of the cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Sometimes the comics. I used to read the comics. That's Mickey comics and Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge comics. I used to read a lot. In fact, I've got a bunch of the books.
Yeah.
Ran out of space for them, but I've had a bunch of the books I would read.
Yeah,
I thought that Mr. Toad has
Yeah.
Fezziwig.
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, that was kind of random. It seemed.
Well, and that's I think what Jen and I both kind of like about it, and I don't know if we're nostalgic for it. Well, we probably can discuss that amongst ourselves, but that whole Ghost of Christmas Present scene, to me, like ran parallel with like us going to Disney, right? So it debuted in '83. Jen didn't go until '85 to Disney, but it had that kind of you got a sense of like this is the world of the Disney characters, so that when we went to Fantasyland and it was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and it was you got a sense of the Disney characters. So those two things I think kind of lined up for us a lot, and probably why we do love Mickey's Christmas Carol the way we do, because in some ways I don't know, Disney Channel was just starting, so I'm sure we've gotten the exposure of Good Morning Mickey and Donald Duck Presents and how they showed those animated shorts back then. Yeah. But Mickey's Christmas Carol was really, I feel like we're showing you these characters for the first time, and in a way that introduced them, in a likable way. And Goofy is likable as Marley, and Mickey.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. Oh, the
That was
technology.
a great introduction. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, you're back. You froze for a moment and you're back.
What part did you hear and not hear?
People, we're dropping it as is.
What did you hear and not hear?
Goofy is likable as Marley.
And I listed Mickey and Donald in there too.
Okay. Yeah. And and I didn't really mean for this to be a Muppet Christmas Carol versus Mickey Christmas Carol, but here we are. I also thought it was, I noticed more maybe with Muppet Christmas Carol that I felt like in the beginning portion of it, they incorporated more of like the Muppety things, especially with like Rizzo and all the other rats. And they were like the little comedic breaks that you had. Whereas like during the rest of the movie, you didn't get as much of like breaking the fourth wall, even with and Gonzo say like, "Oh, we'll be right back. This is too creepy," and all of
Right.
that, which was funny. But I just felt like they got less of that over time. But then thinking about like Mickey's Christmas Carol, because it is so condensed, like you barely had that throughout the movie. Like it was just a touch here and there, and Goofy's wahoo, I mean the classic one. So
Yeah.
you had that, but yeah, but I do agree that that was kind of our biggest connection to Disney characters in terms of TV or movies at that time, like the classic Disney characters, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Dis-
mine was
yeah.
was a Wonderful World of Disney
Mhm.
Mhm.
series I used to have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They didn't have nearly enough cartoons on it for my.
Louis, that's why Michael Eisner is your favorite Disney character.
I think I was sort of out of it at that point. We watched that as a kid, and then when I was I would have been in high school when this
Mhm.
Mickey's Christmas Carol came out.
Yeah.
So I don't remember Disney at all until the 2000s, till we had our child, and
Yeah.
she watched Disney movies. But there was never any Mickey because Mickey was sort of not the thing at that
Right.
point.
Mhm.
And I'd had the comics when I was a kid, but I didn't read them again until I was in my 40s or 50s.
Yeah, see, I went to Disney World when I was in high school, so I had a little bit more of experience with it before we started going in the 2000s. So, yeah.
And Jiminy Cricket as the Ghost of Christmas Past, I love in that role. And
Yes.
and again, I just think tremendous. But sometimes I when I see another version of Scrooge or Scrooged or any variation thereof, and I see how the Ghost of Christmas Past gets portrayed, and I'm just like, I think I still prefer Jiminy Cricket, but there's a place for the the feisty, the spooky of other Ghost of Christmas Past characterizations in film and TV.
Yeah, I
That's the
think
big
I
character
like
influence.
Jiminy Cricket better than
Yeah.
the girl in the Muppet
Mhm.
one,
Mm.
because I think just because there's just like no connection with her whatsoever, so it doesn't feel, I don't know. But yeah, I liked Jiminy Cricket there too.
Lewis doesn't agree though.
No, it's not that I don't like Jiminy Cricket better than the one in Muppets Christmas Carol, but
Mhm.
I liked her too. I liked the way she behaved.
Yeah.
Will this make it onto your list for next year?
I think it will for
Maybe it's
me.
already on my list.
Yeah.
It was on the list
I mean,
before.
I think it'll be one that will be one of those that we watch together, like from
Mhm.
his list, like because I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it. So
Ideally, we won't have as much time to watch TV next year, but it probably will be something we watch.
There is 1 week less next year because Thanksgiving is later, and everyone in this area besides me refuses to commit
No.
before Thanksgiving to watching anything holiday related.
yeah, no,
Correct. So
can't
why
do it.
don't you
Do it.
join us?
Mhm.
There's no time.
It's very good. It's
That's
a
true. I
good
do not like the one less week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not good.
I know. I hate when it starts later like that.
yeah.
Jen, do you have any other things you want to ask along the way here? I'm trying to.
I'm trying to think about Mickey's Christmas Carol. The music. Can we discuss the music of Mickey's Christmas?
The intro was too long.
And that's part of the joy of it.
The song went on for a while.
So long.
It did.
The credits and
Yeah. But it's so like that time. I mean, it's that time and before that time, right? And I always think of that with movies now, of how different
Mhm.
movies started. Like, Hello Dolly is one of my big movies. That beginning with the credits goes on forever. It's so long. And but so I think I have nostalgia for movies with long beginning credits. But that music for Mickey's Christmas Carol gets me every time. Love it. Yeah.
Before we go, Jen, prior to this recording, was trying to upload a video into the StreamYard that I think is worthy of sharing with Lewis and Dr. Val.
Yes,
here.
it is. But I can't share it.
You can't share it, but do you think if you held up the phone, it would have an impact or
No.
not?
No.
No, you
No.
refuse to. No spoilers. We're gonna make them wait until 2024. You're gonna
All
drop
right,
it in
hold
the
on.
Discord.
Let me see. What if it would let me share my screen? Let's see if it does
Mhm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share my screen, everyone. And
Now,
you're
would this
listening
be
to the
coming in?
audio.
Do you think this is a coming in 2024 finale here?
Maybe this could be.
Mhm.
Window.
Okay, if there's any time, I do have one more question about
Oh.
Mickey's Christmas.
Oh yes,
Right.
go ahead.
Yes.
Did
While
you
Jen
agree?
figures it
Yeah.
out, ask your question,
Yeah.
Louis.
Was that Daisy Duck that played Scrooge's girlfriend? Because that freaked me out a little bit.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think it's a great question. I think Daisy Duck is the type of duck that is willing to, adapt, even if it's, if for the integrity of the performance. Yeah, I would say there's a Daisy Duck, but she's the type of duck that is willing to, just go with it for the sake of the performance.
She commits 100%. And yeah. This is there's no good way for me to share
No.
this here on the StreamYard.
Oh,
So
go ahead. Show it in the Discord. Can you be
yeah, I
able
can
to
drop
upload
it
it
in
there?
the Discord. That'll be
Mm.
good. But I kind of don't want to drop in this. I want to see everybody's reactions.
Yeah. Did
Maybe
any
I'll
of that
drop in the
Share
Discord.
your screen.
Now I'm curious.
I know. No.
We're
I
setting
know
it.
it's
They're not going to
video,
Dillo their expectations at this rate.
All right. Perhaps though, to spare everyone listening on the audio, we can wrap it up here,
Mhm.
and then behind the scenes, maybe Lewis and Val get the first look
Yeah.
at it on my
We'll
phone.
get to see it first.
As guests of Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Dish, we will take you into the green room following this podcast to share with you a video on Jen's phone.
Yes, so exciting.
What you're looking for? is
Who wants to do the plugs for Figments in Time? Lewis, Val, either one?
Val
Lewis.
can. She knows
Oh,
it better
no.
than we're on Instagram at Figments in Time. We don't we post it a little bit when we're traveling. We need to do better. I post a picture every day at Disney Pick a Day. A picture of Disney. Hopefully, I'll continue to do that in the new year.
Yes,
All right.
do it.
Twitter will still be around.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
If we could get well enough to actually keep up with everything, that would be really great. That's why I said I totally understand the weirdness of 2023. It's just we've just had a rough year. So
I think we're all done with it. We're all done with 2023, all of us.
each of these 4 years, thinking it is also why we're building up the YouTube audience, is because the X Twitter just sits there shaking like an Icelandic volcano.
like,
that would be a good one of those for the Christmas show, not the Christmas show, where they have the sled in the
Oh yeah.
gosh,
Mhm.
what is that show? The Frozen show where he
Yeah.
Yes.
sled as sleds. It blew up as sleds do, like a
let's see.
Yeah.
Icelandic
Volcano.
volcano.
Well, thanks for jumping on here on our fancy YouTube channel that is now 16 subscribers away from 1,000. But we'll wrap it up here. We'll hopefully drop some fresh review of Wish. I mean, not that fresh because it's been out for a month, but with the kids, you never know. It'll be take a mind of its own, hopefully, if we can get them all in the same room for more than 5 minutes. So until that time, that's Dr. Val, that's Lewis, she's Jen, I'm Frank. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.
How is it Christmas already?
Okay. Oh, God.